Anyone But You, product of 2023. A romantic and engaging rom-com with the artistry of Sydney Sweeney as Bea and Glenn Powell as Ben, telling a crazy love story that has had fewer examples in recent years. The essence of true love, along with the awkward things that Ben and Bea do, show their love and affection for each other in a daring way. While they are not in a forced reconciliation after months, they see each other again. The interesting and funny events that happen to them show true love in the true sense of the word, not just something that is merely erotic, a much more real and heartwarming romance which ultimately creates a sense of beauty for the audience. I personally recommend watching the original and complete version of this film. So without further delay, let's move on to the story description. So stay with us.
Before we start the story, if you enjoy our content, please support us by subscribing or liking, so we can recap more films for you.
The film starts with a scene of Bea in a coffee shop, pleading with the manager to let her use the restroom. Manager tells her it's only for customers, but when Ben sees her and understands what she wants, he tells the manager that she is his wife, and they let her use the restroom. Then she accidentally spills water on her pants and takes a long time trying to dry herself. They become friends in a way and walk outside together. Then Bea goes to Ben's house, and he makes grilled cheese for her. They sleep next to each other, but don't have a sexual relationship. The next morning, Bea quietly leaves Ben's house. Later, on the phone, she tells her friend what happened the night before and talks about her relationship with Ben. Ben's friend Pete comes to see him and tells him she wasn't that attractive and that he doesn't like her. Meanwhile, Bea overhears this, and her heart breaks, and that's the end of the story.
Interesting quote from William Shakespeare. You can do a lot with hatred, but you can achieve much more with love. Shakespeare nails it with this beautiful saying.
6 months have passed since that incident. Then we see Ben and Pete meeting Claudia and his love, Hallie, at a club. They then introduce Bea, who turns out to be Hallie's sister. Ben and Bea's reunion doesn't go well. Ben says, "You left me hanging and walked away," and Bea replies, "You're just a playboy." Claudia and Hallie announce that they want to have their wedding ceremony in Australia. So everyone gets their tickets to Australia and boards the plane. As Ben is getting on, he catches Bea's eye and starts taunting her with his remarks. Later that night, Bea wakes up and goes to Ben's seat, noticing a cookie. She tries to take it, but ends up pressing the button of Ben's seat and getting her clothing stuck. Watching Bea's struggle to free herself without waking Ben is incredibly funny and adorable. Ben and Bea arrive in Australia and inside the airport. Their friend Pete, who has come to meet them, takes them to their place of residence in Australia with his car. Then, on the coast, Hallie tells them that due to our numbers and lack of rooms, we have to put you both in one room, which is not very exciting news for Ben and Bea. Then, Ben meets Margaret on the beach. Margaret was Ben's ex-girlfriend who ultimately breaks up with him. Meanwhile, Bea and her sister Hallie walk on the beach together. And Hallie tells her that she was supposed to get married sooner, and she tells her that she didn't like her ex-boyfriend at all. Bea then tells her that I am very happy that you are getting married and becoming happy. Then their eyes fall on Margaret and Bea asks her who she is. And Hallie replies that she is Claudia's niece and Ben's ex-girlfriend who is cheating on him and is a lousy person. Margaret introduces her boyfriend, Boo, who seems like a strange guy. Margaret says he's an athlete, and Ben tells him that's great, lucky you. Next, we see a scene where Bea is looking at her laptop, considering dropping out of law school. Her parents come in, and she closes the laptop. They tell her they wished you could have married before, Hallie. That's bad. You don't like your boyfriend Jonathan anymore. We thought he was a part of the family, and we want you both come back together again. But Bea is very frustrated about this whole situation because she doesn't like her ex-boyfriend at all, and her parents don't understand. The dinner party commenced peacefully until a dispute arose between Ben and Bea, resulting in the unintentional ignition of a firework that struck a floral arrangement, sparking a fire that affected Hallie's hair. Everyone gets upset, and Margaret extinguishes it with her own dress. The next day, Claudia's family, along with Pete, Claudia's brother, and Hallie, discuss the situation and say, it can't go on like this. Claudia tells her mom and her stepdad that they need to come up with a plan to reunite those two, make peace, and have sex, or else they will ruin our wedding. Therefore, from now on, everyone tries to bring them back together. Claudia's father and Pete on this side, and Hallie and Claudia on the other, are talking about Bea and Ben, who are so in love with each other. They are trying so hard to bring them together and make their relationship work again. Ben and Bea see them and wonder why they are talking behind their backs and what their goal is. They suspect that they are doing this out of fear of ruining their wedding ceremony. At the same time, Claudia's mother arrives and tells them that she has a mission for them. She asks them to go rowing in the middle of the water and bring something back for her. When they reach the boat, Bea realizes from a distance that their parents have finally brought them together. She said to Ben, "I want my ex-boyfriend to be out of the picture," and suggests that he should let go of Boo as well because of Margaret. Ben replies that he has no problem with Boo. Then Bea suggests to Ben that they should pretend to be really in love with each other so that they can enjoy the situation. Ben agrees to this pretense. The strange behaviors of Ben and Bea cause everyone to wonder how they got together so quickly. Then we see Jonathan coming over and greeting Ben. Bea's parents tell her, "We know you two have separated, but give it another try." But Bea says, "I am with Ben, and I can't." She then suggests to Jonathan to go around with Ben, but he refuses. In their efforts to draw attention from others, they display unconventional behaviors to make people believe they are deeply in love, from neck sniffing to hand placement under clothes, all while the others are focused on a cute koala. In the meantime, Bea tells Ben, "I feel something strange in your pants. Do you have a mole?" He denies it, and she takes her hand out of his pants to reveal a tarantula in his underwear. Ben, out of fear, takes off all his clothes and stands naked in front of Bea, and he says, "Look again, is it still there?" She responds it looks another one, but "I think it's part of your body." Then he tells her to check herself, and she says, "I'm okay." In the next scene, it's amusing that Ben uses Bea's britches as underwear for himself, while everyone is still focused on watching the koala. Ben sees Bea's father and teaches him a special breathing technique for underwater diving, and they get along well, while Bea is secretly watching them. Later, Bea and Ben approach her respective parents and tell them, "We have a good relationship. It's not perfect yet, but yes, we are satisfied with our relationship." Then, Bea confronts Ben about overhearing him talking to Pete behind her back. Ben apologizes, saying, "Yes, I was wrong. I'm sorry." Bea thanks him for being kind to her father. Meanwhile, Ben talking with Boo while naked and showering, who describes Margaret's explicit comments about her sexual encounters with Ben, portraying Boo as an odd and shameless person. In the next scene, we see Jonathan having a conversation with Bea, who thanks him for accepting the situation and understanding that the relationship is over. Jonathan responds with a forced smile, clearly showing his dissatisfaction. In the next scene, Margaret makes coffee for Ben and praises it, saying it's the best coffee in the world. Then she asks, "What happened between us? You ghosted me." Ben responds, "I don't know. Maybe you told me I'm an idiot for suffocating myself with body spray." She then tells him, "My relationship with Bao is purely physical, but I want love, and I believe I can have that with you." Ben quickly approaches Bea and says, "We shouldn't let everyone know. I am very okay with you, and we have an excellent relationship. Because this is how Margaret wants to dominate me again." He also adds, "There has to be a space where we can love each other, but don't have to possess each other." Later, the family prepares for a recreational trip on their own cruise ship. In a beautiful and romantic scene, Ben embraces Bea and gently leads her out of the Jeep. Everyone, especially Bea's ex-boyfriend Jonathan and the unsympathetic Margaret, witnesses the intimate moment.
During a dinner and dance party on the ship in the middle of the sea, Ben and Bea captivate everyone with their graceful dance moves. Then Ben leads Bea to the bow of the ship, creating a romantic moment reminiscent of the iconic "I'm flying" scene from the movie Titanic. Suddenly, Bea falls overboard and Ben jumps in to rescue her. They eventually make their way to a dinghy or a raft floating in the water before anyone else realizes where they are. In that intimate moment, they express genuine feelings of warmth and connection to each other. Amidst the closeness, Ben apologizes again, expressing remorse for his past behavior. Then, a rescue helicopter arrives and lifts them up, still embracing each other, as they are airlifted to safety. Upon their return home, Ben prepares grilled cheese for Bae, who eagerly devours it, her tongue tingling with the hot cheese. Suddenly they share a passionate kiss and embrace, solidifying their love for each other. However, the next morning, before Bea wakes up, Ben leaves the room evoking a sense of heartache, similar to the one he experienced 6 months prior.
The day before Ben and Bea's wedding, they come clean to everyone, explaining that their relationship was a facade to fend off the malicious schemes of others who were trying to save the wedding ceremony because of them. Bea's parents also discover that Bea has dropped out of law school. The family dog creates havoc by mischievously disrupting the wedding preparations and knocks over the wedding cake. Claudia very upset, scolding the dog. On the morning of the wedding day, Ben overhears a heated argument between Hallie and Claudia, fearing that their behavior might jeopardize the wedding. Despite all the effort and expense, Ben goes to Bea's room and asks her keep up their good behavior for Claudia and Hallie's sake. Finally, the long-awaited moment arrives, and the two of them tie the knot. During the ceremony, Margaret falsely claims that Boo has abandoned her and then approaches Ben, dancing with him and even trying to kiss him, despite his clear discomfort. To make matters worse, Bea witnesses the scene and pleads with Hallie and Claudia to forgive her, as she feels compelled to leave the ceremony. Her heart breaks, and tears roll down her cheeks as she walks away. After realizing he no longer has any feelings for Margaret and noticing that Bea has left the ceremony, Ben's realization strikes him with full force. Bea's father, in a heartfelt moment, expresses that love is a precious gem and that Ben must fight for it. When suddenly, in a whirlwind of emotions, Ben dashes towards the water and plunges in, seemingly possessed. A rescue helicopter swiftly takes him away, seemingly knowing where Bea might be, given her earlier hints. He finds her outside the opera house in Sydney, and as he runs towards her, Bea's face lights up with joy. Ben says, "Forgive me. I've just realized how much I love you," kissing her, bringing the story to a heartfelt close. In the final scene, we witness everyone singing along to the song Unwritten, with Ben and Bea joyously embracing and kissing each other. The film closes with intriguing snippets of the characters, including a moment where Margaret and Jonathan appear to share a secret and share a kiss. Finally, we see Claudia and Hallie admitting they faked their argument to bring the two back together.
Thanks for watching to the end. Folks, if you enjoy this content, make sure to like us, subscribe, and share us to your beloved ones.